What's up, everyone, and welcome to Clear Talk. So, today, all my videos are going to concentrate on the Middle East. First, we're going to talk about the hostage release from Gaza and the prisoners from Israel, the ceasefire, what's going on right now, updating on all that. And then I'm going to have a video about the Trump Knesset speech, and I'm going to hit on a few things there that I wanted to talk about. And then I'm going to have a video about if you know how Israel has talked all along about humanitarian aid and stuff that going through the Gaza Strip, blaming on Hamas for like stealing, food and holding stuff and preventing things from going on. And we found that it's not so much. It's not actually Hamas doing a lot of that. As a matter of fact, there are gangs that have been propped up by Israel, actually, to do a lot of these actions, these anti-Hamas gangs, some of which seem to have some connection to even like terrorist kind of activity around like even ISIS and stuff like that. So it is that's going to be an interesting video as well. So thank you very much for joining me. If you are new here, welcome to Clear Talk. And if you would like to check out more videos from the channel, please do so. Consider subscribing, like, share, all that good stuff. If you'd like to check out videos from my other channels as well, that would be amazing. JMD Drummer, Play and Puzzling. Consider subscribing to those as well. I very much appreciate that. It helps out with the with getting the videos in front of more eyes and the algorithm and all that stuff. So thank you very much for any help you give there. If you would like to give any kind of support, there are also links there for support, whether it's ongoing or one-time donations. If you want to join JMD Nation, that's amazing, and any kind of support you give is very much appreciated, and I thank you very much. And if you're returning, you're freaking amazing. Thank you for coming back over and over and over again. And yeah, so thank you. And welcome back to Clear Talk. All right, so update. So we had the ceasefire agreement the last time we talked about, where the Israeli government or in the war cabinet agreed on the ceasefire to put forth, and we were waiting for the hostages released. Hamas was given 72 hours. Like I said, there seemed like business hours the way it was communicated, because Trump had said either Monday or Tuesday we should be seeing the hostages released. Well, that happened yesterday on Monday. 20 living hostages were released. And they were all men hostages. That was something that kind of come up, but all the females had already been released in previous exchanges. And also of the 28 who were dead that were supposed to be released, I think most of them were released, or a good bit of them released. There were still some that have not been released because Hamas has declared that even when this first was agreed upon, that there were bodies that they were going to need help getting, because they were up underneath rubble and stuff like that. These are the hostages that they have been stating for a while that Israel actually killed from their bombardments and stuff, which it's very likely that that's a possibility. I mean, the amount of destruction that Israel has done on the area, and a lot of the area, some of the biggest concentration of bombings was in in Gaza City, which they claim the hostages were in Gaza City. Some of them were in Gaza City. So there's very much, I mean, it's very likely that there are bodies that are up underneath rubble and stuff, as well as just Palestinians altogether up underneath rubble. That's the reason why the argument has been for a while now that the official number of 60 something thousand dead is crazy low from what's probably actual reality, because that's all that they could that's beneficial is the 67,000 or whatever that is being stated up to date, but we know that there are probably hundreds of thousands that are dead, and many of them up underneath rubble. And the statement that some of these are up underneath rubble, some of these hostages that are dead, it is very possible. And they're requesting for help to get them out from underneath the rubble, so that they can be released, and that they can't. A lot of them they can't get to because the Israeli, the IDF and stuff had control of some of the areas. And there were still active bombardments going on, and so that's what's happened there. I'm gonna go ahead and show some footage and stuff that we have here, and swap over. All right, this is from Al Jazeera. I have two videos that they have captured in different, from different. This is mostly concentrating on the Israeli hostages that were released. They've got a few little videos and stuff from people, celebrating and talking about those. And people that were even waiting for their family members and stuff like that. And then the other one is kind of like a summary altogether. It also shows some footage from Palestinians being released. So we'll watch and see.
Between Israel and Hamas is underway. Hamas has released all 20 living Israeli captives as agreed under the U.S. brokered ceasefire deal. They were handed over to the Red Cross in two separate groups. The Israeli military has confirmed all captives are now in Israeli custody, and they'll be undergoing medical examinations in southern Israel. These images show the 7 Israeli captives that were released in the first batch. They've now reunited with their families for the first time in more than 2 years. And the mother of one of the captives released spoke to him for the first time in a video call.
אתה חוזר הביתה, כולכם חוזרים הביתה, אני אוהבת אותך. חיים שלי, תודה לאל, נגמרה המלחמה, נגמרה המלחמה, אין מלחמה. אתה בא הביתה, חיים שלי, אמא, אתה בא הביתה, אין מלחמה.
Well, the release of the Israeli captives was celebrated by emotional crowds in what's known as Hostage Square in Tel Aviv. That's where tens of thousands of Israelis have been protesting every week since the war began. Many of them have accused the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of sabotaging and delaying previous attempts to reach a deal.
I waited for this day so much. 2 years we've been waiting for the hostages to come back home, for the war to stop, for the soldiers to come back home. This is a historic day. This is a happy day. They're coming home.
I hope to see over 20 hostages come home, and I just pray that they're all healthy and strong, and that their families are there to greet them, and that they're safe.
Well, soon after the Israeli captives were released, buses carrying released Palestinian prisoners were seen leaving Ofer prison near Ramallah. That's in the occupied West Bank. Israel is releasing nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. 250 of them are from the occupied West Bank, including occupied East Jerusalem. They've been serving life and long sentences. More than 1,700 Palestinians detained during the war from Gaza are also being released. The UN considers them forcibly disappeared. 154 Palestinians in total are being forced into exile by Israel. And so we can see crowds of people behind.
Okay, and then I have this one, which is you're gonna see some of the same imagery, but then they go a little bit deeper and show some more throughout Gaza and the West Bank and stuff like that. So Yeah, because you see the 20, were released. There was a lot of celebration going on, and happiness. Everybody's excited to see their family members. It's amazing to get the Israeli captives from Gaza that were still alive. It's unfortunate that so many did die, and but it's great for those who were able to survive. 2 years is crazy to think about. Being held captive in an area that is actually being destroyed. On top of that, it's bad enough that you were taken hostage and you've been held captive, but then your own country, your own military is just leveling this place that you are being held captive in. And they survived that, which is in itself just amazing. And now are able to come back home. And then, of course, the prisoners. There are thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of prisoners. This 2,000 prisoners here is just a drop in the bucket of prisoners that Israel has, Palestinian prisoners that they have, and many of which are just being held for much of nothing reasons at all. Some of them are holding life sentences. Some probably arguably for good reasons. Some not for really good reasons. Some have been detained for years upon years. More than 2 years. Talking about 10 years or more, and have not been able to see their families or whatever been held. So it's good that to see this happening and these families being reunited. But me could go on to show some more.
With a ceasefire in Gaza holding, Hamas released the last of the 20 living Israeli captives. And Israel began releasing hundreds of Palestinian prisoners. Anticipation and celebrations in Tel Aviv, Gaza, and the occupied West Bank.
I am so happy. I can't explain how happy I am. I'm looking for my family. I want to find them. I was in prison for 20 years.
At the Knesset in West Jerusalem, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu used the moment to reframe Israel's genocide in Gaza as a military victory. While entirely reiterating Israeli narratives, he did seem to concede that the war is, for now, over.
Mr. President, you are committed to this peace. I am committed to this peace. And together, Mr. President, we will achieve this peace.
Most of Netanyahu's remarks centered on praising U.S. President Donald Trump for his unwavering support of Israel throughout the war. For years, the captive crisis was one of the most politically charged aspects of the war.
In another video.
This breakthrough follows intense international mediation led by the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar. Hamas releasing all captives made the deal possible, but also meant surrendering its only leverage. In Gaza, reactions are mixed. Relief at the cessation of airstrikes and aid finally getting through, but also sorrow, anger, and exhaustion. For Palestinians, this moment is less about long-term peace and more about short-term survival.
We were told by an intelligence officer not to celebrate. Otherwise, they would ruin our joy. What is important for us is to have our brother released.
The significance of this moment will depend entirely on what happens next. If peace takes root, this could be remembered as a turning point. But if Israel resumes its attacks, it will be seen as just another pause in a cycle of violence and another missed opportunity. Zain Basravi, Al Jazeera.
All right, so that with some footage and stuff, showing the Israeli captives being released, excitement, celebration that was happening, and going on. Then, of course, Palestinians that were being released to the Gaza Strip, to the West Bank. But and like I said, it's amazing to see. Happy to see people celebrating. Happy to see families reunited. And at least for the moment, a sense of relief, a sense of life brought back to these people, and love and care and just the whole reuniting nature of that. But the thing is keep in mind that while it's great for this to happen right now, and great that it is happening right now, this could have already happened. This could have happened a long time ago. Okay, this could have already happened by Trump. It could have already happened by Biden, and it was prevented over and over again and allowed to be prevented by Israel. I mean, constantly going back and changing and disagreeing with stuff over and over again. If there had been more pressure by Biden a long time ago during the very original ceasefire, then they could have, which was about roughly about 100 of them were released in. If we would have had stronger push by Trump in the when he first took over the ceasefire, then it could have happened there where it was all ended. It's just now that we are 2 years in, and suddenly Trump decides to finally go, we need to stop. We need to stop. It's and go ahead and do this. It's just. It's very, and again, we've already had I've already talked about this in a previous video, where this just shows furthermore how much power the U.S. has had in this all along, and could have stopped this all along. All we had to do is just say stop, period, and it would have stopped. But we did not have that desire by Biden or Trump up until this point. The Biden administration allowed them to continue going. They gave them weapons, gave them money, allowed them to keep bombing, didn't put enough pressure on them. They what little restriction they did give, like on the big 2,000-pound bombs, I mean, that was months into it. So granted, it was great in the moment that they weren't able to drop the biggest bombs they could drop. They were still allowed to do the damage that they were doing. But then that, of course, got completely turned around when Trump got in there. He gave them all that back and plus some, and basically told them to finish the job. We all know what that meant, and they destroyed. I mean, there's 85% of the buildings and stuff of Gaza are destroyed. People are going back to rubble. It's the idea here that people are going back to their homes. No, they're going back to the area that used to be their homes, but it's destroyed. It's apocalyptic. Looking at images and stuff of Gaza right now. There's I mean, it is crazy. And yet you have Netanyahu there stating how we've won the war is over and now we have peace. But although he along with other right-wing parts of his coalition have states are still stating that it's not done, and they still have not agreed to any kind of lasting ceasefire. uh, the and even in the IDF retreating to the first phase line, which still gives them control of like 60% or so of the Gaza Strip. And on top of that, what they still have control of has been noted that is the most fertile part of the land, and that what they've basically released is all the sandy, more unfertile section that they can't really do anything with, or the Gazans can't do anything with. But even in retreating to that line, the IDF, there have been reports that they were setting fire and destroying food and even like water cleaning centers and stuff, waste management kind of things, blowing them up and stuff that just further doing destruction as they were exiting and pulling back, just making it more and more unlivable there. It's like if they haven't destroyed enough, they still are destroying more and more stuff as they exit and back out. It's just, and it's never enough. It's never enough. When it comes to the destruction and just sadisticness that the Israel government and IDF has done on Gaza and the Gazan people. It's just it's annoying. It's frustrating, and it's exhausting seeing it and hearing about it, and but the ceasefire at the moment is, or at least the first phase is is almost basically to completion. Humanitarian aid is being released back into the Gaza Strip. Israel has let go of their control on that, supposedly. The UN is being allowed to bring humanitarian aid in, although I think Sunday they stated it was around 173-ish or so trucks that entered, which is well below, as we talked about previously. The Gaza Strip on average was getting anywhere around 500 or so trucks a day before the war. They would need that plus some to get people, enough food passed around to get and supplies and stuff to get hospitals and all the different businesses and stuff trying to get something going to work with healthcare and get Palestinians some type of nourishment. The people there, it is just so it's still within the first few days, still well below what's needed. We'll have to continue to see what happens going forward day to day, if there's more and more trucks allowed in, to try and give them the supplies and stuff that they need to start really making a dent in what has just been a complete starvation of this population. So that's where we stand right at the moment, waiting for what's next. I'm sure negotiations will continue. Hopefully, they will stay in the direction of peace, and hopefully the Hamas will get the support that they need to get the remaining dead that are up underneath rubble and stuff without Israel actually trying to make an argument that Hamas is going against the ceasefire by not releasing the bodies, not giving them support to get them, and then they just use that as an excuse to go right back to bombing them, which is nothing short of what Israel would do. I mean, if you do not understand the history of Israel at this point, I don't even know what to tell you. We've been talking about this over and over again. They find every possible way to break ceasefires in any possible manner that they can. They are still breaking the ceasefire with Lebanon. They have apparently, the last report for that was that, roughly around over, 4,000 times they have broken the ceasefire in some sort of way. Whether it's, dropping bombs or little small military actions throughout southern Lebanon. I mean, this is something that they do. The ceasefire to Israel means you cease, we fire. That's what that's just reality. So for this to really truly hold as a ceasefire, Trump and his administration, the ones that are setting up there for to give support for this ceasefire, it's going to be on the U.S. to keep applying that pressure, and also on top of that, we have at the moment sent 200 U.S. military personnel to the region. These are personnel that the administration claims were already in the area at CENTCOM, and that they are being placed in like a central kind of hub area in Israel to help. They're supposed to help with the humanitarian aid and security. But nevertheless, that has brought up a lot of issues on the state side with support, like, even MAGA people and supporters of the Trump administration have argued that this is, that they don't agree with this. They don't like this. There's never supposed to have been U.S. boots on the ground. But this is the start. We've already put, like I said, they're stating that they are for security and for helping humanitarian aid. But who's to say if any of these soldiers wound up, getting injured, shot, killed by any kind of means, what that will further push. The administration has stated there are other members on bases in other sections of the region that could potentially be sent there, so we could wind up with more than the 200 initiated, which that is the concern. Is 200 it, or is that just the beginning? Is it eventually going to be 400? Is it going to be 800? Is it going to be 1,000, 2,000? What that's the concern for U.S. and a lot of us, questioning how far is this going to go? I mean, we know the whole idea behind the ceasefire is that there's supposed to be eventually some sort of Gazan and other like Arab states, along with the U.S. and Western influences, having a coalition to some degree, and trying to run Gaza. That's headed by Trump. That he has somehow volunteered for. It is very, very, very. There's a lot of questions that remain, a lot of concerns that remain going forward, but at least at the moment, we do have a celebration, a pause for, reconnection and people united, um around that, around the hostages and stuff being released, around prisoners being released, and it's good. Like, this is a great moment. This is a great moment, a happy moment for a lot of people, and let's just hope that that moment can hold and not ultimately just short-lived. So thank you very much for joining me. And whenever we have any other major update as far as like talks for phase 2, if we actually approach that, or if everything flips and goes back in a bad direction or whatever, I'll be here to talk about it. So thank you very much. Let me know what you think of what's going on so far. And yeah, thank you very much. Until next time, Clear Talk. Peace with love. I'm out.